Here we are, podcast
Yes, we are.
2, episode 2.
Very exciting.
Yeah. We're back. Pod Populi. They invited us back. Can we talk about where we are?
Sure.
So, for people who don't know,
Yeah.
so we are currently in the Pod Populi studio in Palm Beach Gardens. And again, you've done quite a few podcasts before, but when I saw the studio, I was like, oh, this would be a great place for us to potentially do our podcast instead of at the house, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so great studio. And we have Andrew, of course, our Baba Booey. And he's going to be our stats guy. We have to get him more involved because it would be kind of cool to have our third person
Third person.
in our podcast. Oh my gosh, Bill Ryan, husband.
Well, no, but like I thought you hadn't finished the sentence. It sort of just dropped right off.
I thought you were
cliff there.
connecting. We're supposed to be kinetically
Oh, no, I was,
connected.
I was waiting for you to finish your sentence, and apparently
Okay.
there was no finish.
So we are back and we have our notes. We have our cards. I brought 3 this time because the game is closer, closest. So, might as well play it right.
I see what you did there. Yeah.
Yes. So our first topic was how we met because we were going to talk about how people meet each other these days. So we thought, well, we have to talk about how we met, of course. Do you want to start?
I'm going to pass it back to you.
Oh, really? Okay. So, as some people know, or if you heard from the first episode, that I was doing a side hustle. One of my good friends, are we allowed to name names? Is
Sure.
that a thing, Andrew? Yeah. Okay, so one of my dear friends, Erin, we always say that. Her boyfriend at the time owned a great local bar, and her and I were slinging drinks at a different bar, and we convinced him to open for 6 months during football season, September to February. Just on Sundays, they were already open, Monday through Saturday. And we convinced him to open for a brunch, watch some football, make some extra money, boom. So it was September of 19, and it was a Wednesday, and I had to put my dog Valentine down. And another good friend of mine, Amy, was up at the bar, and she knew I was a mess. Grace was at her dad's, and Valentine was no longer with me. And she said, come up to the bar, spend a little time out of the house, get out. So
I'll interject
Yes.
now because why was I there?
right, yeah.
So this was my Cheers bar. I greatly miss it. Shane, I wish you would reopen
Yeah.
with your sister. It was a place I used to go to quite a bit. It was kind of my home away from home. They had great food, and it was it felt like an Irish pub, so that helped.
And it used to be an English pub, like a traditional
Yeah,
English pub before Shane took over.
So I happened to be there with a buddy, and Stacy showed up. I didn't know it was Stacy.
Right.
Mickey and I were speaking with her friend, Amy, and then all of a sudden this woman walks in. She's a mess.
Yeah, I was a mess. I looked cute, though. Of course, I was wearing black.
Of course.
By the way, I realized I wore the same
I was going
colors.
to comment, but,
I wore the same colors as I wore in the first episode.
you're
So
like Steve Jobs. You've got a look.
Yeah.
You have the same look every time.
Right. I usually
Worked for
wear
Steve.
black. Yeah,
Until it didn't.
yeah. So anyway,
Yeah.
back to the story.
Anywho,
So I was wearing a cute black onesie.
so cute.
So cute. And, but I was a crying mess. And I saw Amy and I saw Cece and I saw a few others. And, they cheered me up a little bit. But, we went through the whole Valentine loss and, I was there for maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. But I did notice,
You were there that long?
maybe,
I wasn't there that long, was I?
I don't know. I just know that you
I
were
don't
there.
think so.
So I spotted you next to Mickey. I knew Mickey just from going to the local bar. And
But we never got introduced.
we never met. We never spoke. We just kind of noticed each other.
So I came back the next Sunday because of the side hustle and Stacy convincing Shane to do the brunch, I was thought, okay, great place to go, watch some NFL football, get some brunch. I'm by myself,
Around the corner.
Yeah.
And who's behind the bar?
Stacy's behind the bar, and I look at her and I said, you were here Wednesday. And I said something like,
are you okay?
Is everything okay? It looked like, something happened. I don't know if I said, did somebody die, but.
No, you just said, are you okay?
Yeah.
I noticed, that you were upset. So.
And then she said, oh, I remember you were sitting right there.
Yes, because I did remember you.
Oh.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit. We chatted in between your meal and your sweet tea that you order. And then we got to talking about shop, basically. We talked work, what I did for a living and what I would love to do and where I was from and what I did in the past. And you told me that you were running a development close by. And I was like, oh, I pitched something to the development. A great idea, a great concept. The Ritz-Carlton does it. The Breakers do it. The Four Seasons do it.
It was a great concept.
Yeah, but Alton wasn't having it. So...
And not that it's that important, but it was a concept that I had introduced in my family's business that I was running in the 90s. So
And it works.
It works very well.
Yeah.
But it is... Home builders are notoriously cheap, and it is a layer of overhead that, you have to really believe in high customer service.
Right.
There's no, is there a financial return on that investment? Yes, if over time you gain the reputation
Right.
for delivering high customer service, as the Ritz-Carlton has so ably done.
Right. Breakers too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, all the big players do that. And in Europe, it's huge. You walk into a hotel and you're greeted and, how can I assist you? How can I help you?
You say all the big players do that, and I would say all the big players used to do it.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
We're seeing it less and less, particularly in the U.S. But to your point, in our travels in Europe, we have definitely seen it in the most unlikely places, particularly public transportation.
Yeah, that's for sure.
In the UK.
Yeah, we can go into that too, because we have so much to talk about with our travels.
For sure.
So, told you about the concept, and we talked more and more about shop, and then we graciously...
So the general heading is how people meet, yes?
For today's topic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we met. We went through the meeting piece.
Right.
Do you want to talk more about how things progressed, or?
Well, you have to talk about the fact that a man needs to, or a woman needs to know when a man gives her the card, the business card, aka phone number exchange, it doesn't always mean it's a relationship. It could just be, hey, you have a great idea. I might implement this into my business development plan. Here's my card. But again...
that could be a sign of me not being very good at the whole meeting people game and the bar game and all that kind of stuff.
Well, you're not Rico Suave game guy. It's not who you are. It's not your MO.
Are you saying I'm not Rico Suave?
Well, with me you are. Okay. But it's just, that's not who you are.
No, it's not my thing. I have not done well meeting people in bars. For whatever reason, I don't know. I must appear unapproachable.
I've been told that before too.
You didn't approach me.
No, it wasn't.
We were lucky.
Yeah, we were lucky, for sure. So we can kind of talk a little bit more about, where that went. So we talked by email for like a few days, meeting up, discussing this opportunity further. And then...
Yeah, I think, what we will touch on the subject of meeting people, I think, often, right? I mean, that's a big struggle that I think people have. When I reflect on that chance encounter what's the saying? Meeting people in the most unexpected places. Really, it wouldn't have been an unexpected place because we were at a bar. But right. I think what was unusual in our case is there was no backdrop or context about either one of us going to meet anybody.
Right.
No
pressure.
You were going through a life experience. I was just hanging at a place. It would not be the bar you'd go to meet somebody, right? I mean, it was...
Yeah. Well, and Shane says that's the best thing that ever came out of the bar. That's engagement. That's just so sweet.
Yeah, it's very sweet. But we were two people being very authentic, and and fortunately, in that authenticity, we connected and then progressed. But we probably can't offer it as, I don't know if we can offer it as an example of, here's the best way to meet somebody.
No, I thought you were talking about October 2nd.
Oh, perhaps.
The one word, the one-word reply, the infamous one-word reply.
Yeah, so just to emphasize, just to put an exclamation mark on my lack of game, I took the risk of reaching out to Stacy via text. That bar was celebrating a 2-year anniversary. And again, it was my Cheers bar. I was there all the time. And I was there because I liked the food. And so I took the risk of saying, are you planning to be at the anniversary party Wednesday night? And all I got back was a one-word response, perhaps. Felt like a blow-off.
And I felt like I was flirting.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
I know.
I had no idea if she was going to show up, but fortunately for me...
And you didn't even know if I'd be working.
I wasn't thinking... no, I think behind my question was my assumption that you would be working since it was a big event. Mm-hmm. But you weren't.
Correct.
But you did show up.
Yeah. Yeah, they wanted me there to celebrate with them.
I wanted you there.
I think they were very specific as to who was behind the bar because it was going to be so crowded.
Yeah.
And a few people wanted to work that night, but instead they just said, we're going to have these 2 people behind the bar, 1 person on the floor, and, we'll wing it. But they crushed it that night. There probably was like 150, 200 people there. Well, maybe I'm over-exaggerating, but
no, you
it
might
seemed
be
like a lot.
Over-exaggerating is redundant, but...
thanks.
Thanks,
Mr. Grammar.
You could be right. I mean, we exited early.
We did. Yeah. We ended up going to dine with your buddy Mickey, who we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Around the corner.
Around the corner, another place was a hangout of ours that... we can say names. It's Culinary.
Incredible chef.
In my opinion, one of the most talented chefs I've experienced.
Yeah, and he's in our backyard, which is awesome.
We are very lucky here in northern Palm Beach County to have some very talented chefs.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no shortage of fine dining. And some of the places are super casual, but, the food is so elevated. Yep. So we go to dinner. We have a great night. We got even, closer as far as talking work and play, as far as, our lives, career paths, et cetera, families. And pretty soon after, you had a conversation with me about moving forward, either professionally or personally. And that was a big conversation because we both knew working together and playing together wouldn't be a great option.
But apparently at that moment, I was the only one that was privy to the fact that there may have been a connection, chemistry.
Yeah, I really didn't think that you were overly interested. No, I didn't.
Or maybe you weren't overly interested.
I was interested. I was intrigued. I was attracted. It was there, but I didn't know if you were. Because you were, you were a little, I wouldn't say standoffish, but you were playing it cool, maybe. But not even trying to play it cool.
No, I was aware of the fact that, so let me set the stage a little bit. So here I am running Palm Beach County for a local builder. I hadn't been there that long, so I knew I didn't have a lot of influence. I had a strong belief in the position we were discussing, but I had no clue if I could sell upper management on it. In fact, if I would have placed odds, I would have said there's no way that I could have convinced them. So, but here's this woman who, just incredible work ethic. That was really clear. That was different than what I was used to. And not entirely, but that was impressive. And I was very aware that if you wanted to pursue the business opportunity, then that could have been the most important thing to you. And I shouldn't get in the way of that.
Right.
So that I was trying to be, I don't know if neutral's the right word.
I know what you mean, though.
Yeah.
You didn't want to influence my decision in any way.
Well, for sure. We had that conversation, and I was wearing my business hat more than my personal hat, and believed I needed to defer to you because this was
ultimately my
potentially a great opportunity
choice
for you in your career. Would have helped me accomplish some goals in my career. So that was door number one. Door number two was, at the time, again, I was leaning or walking through door number one. If there was any opportunity on a personal level, at that point I had no clue if there was. And it wouldn't be fair for me to impose, a personal connection or relationship if you wanted to pursue the business.
Right. So I, of course, spoke to who I normally would have talked to, the family, and they all agreed. You cannot work with the family. You got to talk to the family. They all agreed. You can't work together if you're going to pursue a relationship with him. Mm-hmm. It's just not an option. It rarely works.
Right.
So, I scratched the idea, concept, and said, I chose you, Bill Ryan.
Well, I posed the question to you.
Right.
And I don't think you gave me the answer right away.
No, I took a few days because I wanted to talk to the fam and make sure my head was making, the smart decision, the right decision.
So I don't know that we've ever discussed this or I've ever asked you, but...
oh, gosh, no pressure.
Well, you made a choice for us.
I made the choice for me, but to choose us.
No, to choose us.
Yes.
What if, at this point, were we... Oh, I guess, at that point we acknowledged there was something there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, if I didn't know you were interested at that point, that would be really presumptuous on my part.
I don't know why that occurred to me that maybe I was trying to put the shoe that was on my foot on your foot. Just, uncertainty, the perhaps moment.
Again, that was trying to be flirty.
It wasn't
successful.
No, not at all.
So
why am I just learning today that was you trying to be flirty? As many times as we've told this story.
I thought you would have picked up on that.
Like I said, I'm not good with that stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't me trying to be like, oh, I'm so cool, let me flip my hair back. It wasn't that.
Was it not?
No.
Okay. We'll just have to take your word for that.
Yeah, please. Okay, so that's how we met, which, again, fortunate, blessed, lucky, as we always say, we're very lucky to have met.
I'm very lucky.
We keep saying we, and I always say you spelled we wrong.
I say I was very lucky. But go ahead.
So we talked about how do other people meet? Because we met, the non-traditional, traditional in the bar way. So I wrote down, and I know that...
I was wondering when you were going to go to the notes.
I know.
What would an episode be without the gigantic
Pictionary
notes?
paper? Yeah. Okay. So I thought of this.
Very noisy, too.
I know. I apologize to my audience. I thought about this saying, do you swipe? Because I never had the opportunity. I don't believe I did to swipe. But I wonder if people say that. Like, you know, they say, are you on the gram? And I always say,
I
ask
don't
the
think
Google.
people say that.
I think people, no? I like how Andrew laughed at that.
I know.
I think
I
the
love
old
that.
folk do. Are you on the gram? I think, come on, I didn't make that up. There's no way I made up, are you on the gram?
You know how there's some sayings you shouldn't use?
No, I like it though, so I'm using it anyway. Okay, so I think.
So funny on the swipe thing.
Yeah, do people say that to each other?
To this day, and as Stacy knows, I have used dating apps. I don't know what swipe left or swipe right mean. I mean,
Indicate?
one
means you're interested. I don't know which direction.
I don't either. See?
Oh, well,
That's what
we
I'm
can
saying.
also ask Andrew.
I think it was swipe. I'm married now too. But
Okay.
From what I remember is swipe right is you're interested.
Because right would be right and left is wrong, you know, the old days, like with earring.
Yeah,
So,
we're
okay,
we're
so
going there. Is there something on the other side of this?
that's from the original notes.
Oh wow, you
I
conserved
recycled.
paper?
Yes, of course, of course.
Wow, that's impressive.
So I recently
Not
heard.
surprising, but impressive. Go ahead.
I recently heard in a show that we watched, can't remember what it was, about Raya. And I don't know if I spelled it right. I've never heard of. Have you ever heard of Raya, Andrew?
Yeah, it's for famous people.
Oh, it's for famous people. No wonder why we're not on it. And did I spell it right? R-Y-A?
I think it's RIYA, I believe.
R-I-Y-A. So famous people use Raya? That's
Right if you. What does A stand for?
ask, right?
Right if you're attracted.
Bullshit.
I don't know. I just made it up, but it just occurred to me.
I think Andrew needs to look that up.
I think he is. He's always way ahead of us.
Yeah.
It's RAYA, Raya.
Okay. And the acronym means?
It's going to be something nasty.
No, not if it's for famous people.
Raya means friend in Hebrew.
There you go.
Ah,
Oh, look
mazel.
at-
Mazel tov. That's wonderful. Okay, so now I'm going to say that. I'm going to tell that to Ruthie, one of my dear friends who can speak fluent Hebrew. Okay, so I wrote down the apps. Hinge, which this marketing for Hinge is brilliant. Their marketing mantra, if that's it, is
Slogan.
Yeah, tagline. We're the app we want you to delete. That's brilliant. They want you to find somebody on their app, and then you delete it because you're no longer
Funny,
single.
It didn't come off as brilliant, but go ahead.
I thought it was brilliant. Then you have Match.
That's what I used.
Facebook, which Facebook has Facebook has a thing now. It's called Singles, Facebook Singles.
Okay.
Bumble.
I know somebody that leverages Facebook with some success, but not. It was before Singles. But go ahead.
Bumble, which I think is the swiping app. Correct, Andrew?
Bumble is the one, I believe, where the women have to talk to you first.
Okay, so there's no swiping on that?
Tinder. You left Tinder off the list. Tinder was, I think, the first swiping app.
Oh, okay.
No, there is
Could be
swiping
wrong.
on Bumble, though.
There is
Yeah.
See?
All of them now, but yeah.
Okay. And then there's the religious ones. I don't know what I mean, I know like jewishmatch.com maybe, and then maybe there's probably ones for non-Jews.
You know what's great about the big notepad?
What?
I can read it upside down.
Oh, that's awesome.
The writing's so big that I can read it from here.
Because I have a big personality. That's why I write so big. And then you have
So
millionaires.
much to say, none of it appropriate.
Millionaires clubs and matchmakers and whatnot. So this was kind of what I thought of. And of course, during COVID, I'm sure there was others created like a Zoom meetup. I'm sure, right? Because people had to be creative on dating. So I think there's.
Yeah, I don't think the apps did particularly well during COVID.
Well, that's why I'm thinking that somebody, if not, we should have thought of this. There should have been a Zoom kind of dating app. I don't know, just food for thought.
Okay.
So
Carry on.
when we bring in one of our friends who frequents or has at least
Or
frequented,
maybe had.
yeah,
And I'm sure they're popular today. I don't. Well, why would I hear about people using them? Because I'm married, but
I think the younger folk do.
younger.
Younger, yeah. I think that's their go-to because they're not going to go to. I could be
I
wrong.
keep interrupting your train of thought, but where are you going with the whole apps list?
And you
as
can
a way-
interrupt. That's okay.
Yeah, I know.
I just didn't know if there were others that. What's so funny?
You smile,
Me?
You smile, yeah.
If there were others that I didn't even think
there-
of, because
maybe
there's
there could be.
probably more,
Yeah, there could be.
like Tinder, which you said or Andrew said. There's probably others. Are you familiar with any others, Andrew?
There's one called Plenty of Fish
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
POF.
sure, POF.
that you want to stay off of.
Oh,
Yeah, it's bad news.
bad news. Okay, to the audience, POF
You
is
know,
bad
I
news.
think it's possible that a lot of people could pick any one of those apps and
say
there's
their
bad
experience
news.
was bad. So let me tell you about when I was single after the divorce, actually a few years after the divorce, when I was looking for a home to buy. I became friends with another Stacy, IE, who's an incredible realtor, whom you know. And she asked me, are you on any dating apps? Is that how you're meeting people? And we became friends because that's who we are, Stacy's. And she asked to read my profile. And I showed her the profile. And she said, the picture's great. And I was like, oh, cool, thanks. What else? She's like, that's it. It is a terrible profile. And I'm like, what?
Deliver it just as
What?
Stacey
Oh,
would deliver it.
absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, she's not shy. And I said, why? What's so wrong with it? She's like, Stacey, you're basically shutting the door on half of half of the opportunity. And on the other half, you're giving them the middle finger. You're like, if you do this, don't reach out to me. If you do this, don't reach out to me. It was very blunt. She's like, you got to soften this up.
Well, and my experience would be that, and I think you said you didn't look at any examples of what people had written.
No.
And I would tell you from my experience, that wasn't uncommon
Right.
to get this kind of bitter. Not that yours was bitter, but
Well, no,
a lot
according to
of them-
Stacy, it was.
Well, a lot of them, they came off as bitter. But I also have said, you've heard me say that if you're a pretty woman, these apps are not your friend because you can get a lot of,
Yeah.
people
Swiping.
with the wrong motivation. But so before I lose this thought, because it's important to my side of the meeting story, I was meeting people through Match.com.
Yeah, you went on a
and
few dates.
We are not going to get a sponsorship from Match.com when I say what I'm about to say, but
Nor were we looking for one.
that's okay. Yeah, okay. Not that we're doing this for the sponsorship. But anyway, I had some, at one point I thought about writing a book about dating apps. And each chapter would be a woman's name. It wouldn't be the actual woman, but there would be a woman in my mind that would be that person for that chapter.
Brilliant. I love it.
And just some of the stories, some of the experiences.
Yeah.
And I get it. I mean, part of, and we touched on this a little bit in the first episode or last episode, but when you are older and you go back to the dating scene, that initial reaction is talking about where you've been,
Sure.
right? And what I was noticing, and it's sort of this gets back to the whole bitter thing, that people are, again, they're a product of their experiences, and they, for whatever reason, either had bad dating app experiences or they're having a acid flashback about a previous relationship and saying, I don't want any of that. I didn't have a lot of bad experiences, but probably if you spend too much time on the apps, you start to see a slice of humanity that's probably not that appealing.
Right.
And you begin to anticipate certain people, right? And you kind of know what to look for. But the week before Stacy and I met, I vowed not to do dating apps anymore and to meet somebody organically. I was lucky that a week later I met you. No, I.
Yeah.
But it's crazy that a week later
I know.
I met you organically.
That's, they say, one of the hardest ways, but one of the best ways.
Yeah.
Of course, they meet through family, through friends, things of that nature. Work, of course, a lot of people meet at the workplace. But my idea was to bring in somebody who's been on the apps, let's say recently. We have a few friends that have dabbled in the single.
Recently?
Yeah, I would say within the last year. That's kind of
good.
recent.
That's recent, yeah.
And
I'd kind of like to hear what's new in the,
and we might
whole
even,
app world.
We might open the app while here.
So we may not.
Oh, no? Okay.
No, I don't know.
Oh, I was going to say, because I want to see what her opportunity, what's out there.
Okay. If that person is willing to do that with us, that'd be great.
Okay. I won't name any names yet because I have two in
I
mind.
don't think you should.
So I think it's time for the cards. Is it time for the cards?
It's time for the cards.
Okay.
Absolutely. By the way, this was a good episode. Again, I think we've identified some follow-on subjects that we're going to have to address. But okay, where are we with the cards?
Okay, so again, we have 3 cards. It's basically a game called Let's Get Closer.
Good, better, best, closer, closest. Okay.
So
you going to do the easiest first?
well, because you said that, sure.
I mean,
And they're not really
I'm not saying you should
level
do,
of difficulty. There's no, it's not a difficult thing. I think they're just more intimate.
Are you giving me the green card now?
Sure, go ahead.
I have a green card. That's great.
And let's bring up for a second. Last time I think I did it wrong because I answered.
There's no right or wrong.
True.
But I did establish a protocol and you broke the protocol.
You're welcome.
So, what do you do or where do you go when you need to be alone?
Well, I'm usually home if I'm wanting my alone time. The beach is a great place for thinking, just staring out at the ocean, sitting on the beach. We have an incredible beach line here, obviously, miles and miles of coastline. Beach line, that doesn't sound right.
We live in a very blessed place, no question. What do you do? You're touching on the where do you go, but what do you do? When you need to be alone?
Just me and my head thoughts, that's all. Listen to music, that's usually a go-to. It's definitely not eating or drinking. That's not my go-to for being alone.
So the number one thing that I do when I need to be alone is I read. Because when I read, it quiets my mind. It doesn't always quiet my mind, but it sifts through the noise. So I usually reduce the noise when I read, and I end up really identifying some of the noise and maybe follow one thought to me beginning to write.
Yeah, love that.
Okay. Do yellow.
Okay, closer.
Wait, why?
What?
So interesting choice of colors, right? Green, yellow, red. I just noticed that.
Because of
the traffic light.
Yeah.
So closest
is
red. I don't know.
It's the stop.
Yeah. Yeah, but why? Okay, do yellow.
Okay. Who is someone you trust?
Who is someone I trust? You.
You too. I think.
Are we looking for a general description of who you trust? Who is
someone you trust? I mean, thank goodness we trust each other. We're married. I would say outside of the marriage, my family for sure. They would never direct me, or wrongly direct me, if that's the right verbiage. They always have my best interest at heart. I would say I'm very fortunate with the friends that I have. I trust them as well. If duct tape and a shovel was involved, there's a few people I would have to rule out, but there's many people I could say I trust.
Do you want to
elaborate on the?
No. Do you want to explain who you got that idea from?
The duct tape and shovel?
Yeah.
Oh, I've been saying that for years.
I think you got that from somebody.
Oh, why do you say that?
No.
Oh.
Someone in your family.
Oh, all right.
I know who he is.
Oh.
He would be just the guy.
Okay. Yeah, last card. Oh, well, do you...
Yeah, I mean, hello.
Sorry.
Yeah, for me, kind of going back to my childhood, I found my safe place among my friends.
Yeah.
I had some great friends.
Still do.
I do. And I've always connected with people who like to get deep. I mean, my group of friends weren't a bunch of guys that wanted to go out and, drink a lot and get messed up and meet women. Not that there's anything wrong
Not
with
at
any
all.
of that, but
You had some deep thinkers.
yeah, I enjoyed. It could be a product of me needing to be able to go deep because I had some things I was working through. But yeah, so that's.
Think about when we first started dating and we would go onto the balcony.
Did you change this card?
No, I didn't change any cards.
Yeah, sorry. About
Because
the
I'm trying to just pull.
Yeah, what about the balcony?
We would have some intense, deep conversations on the balcony before we were even engaged, which was great.
See, now there's another subject to talk about.
Difficult topics.
No,
sometimes.
your ability, one of the things that attracted me to you, and I didn't really associate the word trust in the beginning, but you were so level-headed, you could have a deep conversation, you were not threatened in any way about any topic that came up. I think I did establish in the first episode that you're the relationship whisperer, but all right, I don't remember this being the third card.
Okay, why? What is it?
What emotion do you experience the most?
Am I going first?
Now I know why it's red. Sure. I'm
I
going
would
to set up the traffic light right here.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Go ahead.
I would say joy. That's what I mean.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I have joy with my husband. I have joy with our home, my space. I have joy for my daughter, obviously, and my family, my friends. Yeah, there's a lot of joy.
Joy is a great word.
I think it's on our refrigerator too.
Yes, it is. Why? So I am a Compass real estate agent. That's one of the things that I do, and I'm in a group called the 6 a.m.ers, inspired by a gentleman named Sky Michaels, who's just awesome.
Brilliant. Yeah.
And we do one-word intentions at the beginning of each month. And joy was a word that came to me. I joined in November, so it was probably in November. It was 2 years ago almost. No, it was 2 years ago.
2 years, yeah.
And, the holidays were in December, obviously, and joy is a
reference.
is a popular word in the Christmas tradition. But 2 years ago, when I used that word as my one-word intention, it was at a time when, our relationship was young, but I certainly was. Well, it's when I started writing my book, and the word joy just, for whatever reason, 2 years ago had a higher level of importance and power and strength. So for me, joy is like aspirational. Happiness is probably, what is this, the one you experience? Yeah, happiness is, I don't know that it's the emotion I experience the most. It's the emotion that I try to achieve every day. And in that pursuit, if I'm having a good day, then I experience joy. So
Great.
joy is,
It's up there.
yeah, it's a big deal. So, what is our next episode going to be about? Because we're at that bewitching moment.
Yeah. Our notes say love languages.
Yeah.
and so we'll have them written out.
And I thought maybe the word love, defining the word love, but that's
too soon.
it's too soon. Plus, it's a kind of a big word.
Yeah, well, and
a lot there.
And I think that'll be like an hour episode, and we're not there yet.
Okay.
Although we could be. So
Andrew's grateful for that.
Oh, yeah. As he's raising his hands, I will write down the love languages, and I think independently we should write our own love language down.
All right.
And
fair
not,
enough.
and then we'll see if we,
You love giving direction.
I do. I'm good at it.
Yes, you are good
Yeah.
at it. Wow, look at you.
Yeah. Well,
Very confident
I should have
today.
been a teacher.
You know, you're not.
I'm not. But I should have been an
Look,
elementary
just
school
because you're
teacher.
okay. Well,
That was my
now
dream
you
job.
put a different label on it, elementary school teacher. But how do you know you're not a teacher?
Well, I was teaching at the nonprofit for 15
And
years.
This podcast is trying to teach people, possibly,
Possibly.
aspirationally. Okay.
So please join us next time.
Yeah. Join us. We're having fun.
yeah,
Starting to
we
get on
are.
a roll here.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
And we're going to find ways to bring you into the conversation with questions on social media.
by the way,
pay
I
attention.
did send the podcast to Ruthie. She listened to it. She loved it.
Good.
My brothers both listened, I believe. I know one listened.
Oh, have we gotten their feedback yet?
Yeah,
You'll
Todd.
save that. I'll save that for the next episode.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So yeah, please join us on The Unicorn and the Frog.
Awesome.
See you then.
Find your joy.